Hey there, Skullheads. I'm Snags.
And I'm old Silky.
And I'm Alan.
We got Beetle Bailey back in the house with us for an episode about stoner flicks. And to start this episode off, old Silky's going to give us a little history lesson. Oh no! First, before that,
Yeah,
we gotta get the
yes.
website pimped. Go ahead, pimp the
Thank you
website,
to our
kiddo.
today's sponsor, snagsandsilky.com. That's today's sponsor. We got we got mugs, we got t-shirts, we got breath mint, and
Yeah,
Breath mints.
breath mints. Yeah,
Okay.
we got breath
earbud
mints.
case to
All right,
try.
you gotta say legalize it, don't criticize it. Say that.
Nice.
I don't like the government and they can't agree.
You're raising
Well,
him right. You're raising that kid right. All right.
hey,
Yeah.
say legalize it, don't criticize it.
Legalize it and I don't trust the government.
Okay.
Legalize it and
Don't criticize it.
don't criticize it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
But I
night,
like
sir.
I like that don't trust the
Yes,
government stuff.
very good.
You're raising that
Yeah.
kid right. Yeah.
El
Um
Condor, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
Close
So
that door, would you?
I really wish the government
What is it now?
would agree.
Don't trust anybody over 90 now?
Don't trust it
yeah,
yet.
right.
That's good.
That's right.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, don't trust the
Okay.
All right. So Cosmic Psychos dropped a new album. We got to mention that
Yes.
before we get into the stoner movies. What'd you think
I
of it?
believe it's called I Like Beer.
Yeah. And
And it is
the opening track is
it's a
go ahead.
solid record. It's good
It's a great
stuff.
yeah, it's Cosmic Psychos in the house. Now the drummer got a shoulder injury, so the guitar player plays drums on that album, and then they've got some substitute drummers on the tour. But it's a solid Cosmic Psychos album. The album is called "I Really Like Beer." The opening
There
track
you
is the opening track is "I Like Beer." Then there's a bunch of great, just typical Cosmic Psycho songs like "Fly in My Shed," "Hey Mick, You're Sick," "Don't Feed Me Jelly," "Spaghetti Western," and then the closing track is "I Really, Really, Really Like Beer." So, in case you ever wondered if the Cosmic Psychos like beer, and then we learned a little more details on Ace Frehley's death. He apparently fell backwards in the studio and smacked the back of his head against something. So that's brutal. That sucks. Silky, any thoughts on that? You're the one that wanted me to mention that.
Oh, no, just it was as sad as it was a relief to hear that it wasn't some OD or some bullshit. Um, he was in his 70s. I feel like it was a complete accident, and sadly, he hit his head hard enough that it ended, that we end up losing another rock icon. Um, in the freak accident, you think of like Keith Relf from the Yardbirds getting electrocuted in the early 70s uh, with a pair of headphones. Like you're like, what the fuck? So just crazy stuff. Sad, but
That sucks.
anyway, I wanted to just drop to set the tone. Um, why was marijuana like illegal almost 100 years ago? And there was a racial bias in the early 20th century towards Mexican
Wait. You're
immigrants.
saying there was a racial bias in the early 20th century?
Bizarrely, yes,
Okay.
this
Just
Ever.
just
making
in.
sure. Okay. All right.
Um, the towards Mexican immigrants, they were often stereotyped as drug users, and marijuana was associated with them. And this led to the enforcement of laws that targeted Mexican Americans specifically. And so that was one of there were different variables as to what led to it, but there was a moral panic in the 30s. A media campaign fueled fears about the dangers of marijuana, portraying it as a dangerous and addictive drug that could lead to violence and even insanity. And this contributed to public support for its criminalization. Um, the pharmaceutical industry, DuPont specifically, I had talked about DuPont with you, Snags. Um,
Yeah, tell that
they
story.
Yeah, so DuPont had, basically law enforcement agencies, they had legislation, politicians, um, in their pocket, and, uh, you had all these hemp farmers. These hemp farms, um, growing marijuana and specifically, making clothing, rope, farmers, and, in the 30s, this is, during the Great Depression. Um, these guys were using what they could, and so they would get, hemp rope to run their farms and do everything, um, and DuPont wanted they were selling their own rope, so these hemp farmers were in direct, competition with DuPont, and, so, they saw marijuana as a threat to their profits and authority, so they lobbied for its prohibition, to maintain control over the drug market, and then, the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937 imposed a federal tax on marijuana, basically, making it illegal for commercial purposes. And then this is weird, the Controlled Substances Act of 1970, further classified marijuana as a Schedule I drug, meaning it had no accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. So, in 1970, they decided that glaucoma, all these things that marijuana has consistently been proven to, help with,
Stress is one.
stress, nervous disorders, uh, just, endless, there's people that cook with it,
Yeah.
um, brownies.
Well, I mean, and the thing is, it's any objective person, uh, can tell that it's less destructive than alcohol. And and
Yes.
and I'm a connois I love alcohol. I partake, once or twice a week, but, uh, just from an objective observation, would you rather be, end up on your couch munching chips and watching Scooby Doo or, liver failure? I mean, those are the 2 extremes if you go all the way with those 2 drugs, so, you know?
No, I totally agree. Alcohol is still, I'm sure, the number 1 most abused drug in the world.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've never heard of anyone, being, uh, smoking a joint and beating their wife. It just, I
Yeah.
Yeah,
never heard of
yeah,
that.
You you end up not
and, uh,
interfering
uh,
with anybody.
one comparison is the, just where was I going? How society kinda looks down on people that don't follow the, the iconic family values. There it is, reefer madness.
Yeah,
Um,
I got it.
they
Nice. So
don't
he's got
follow the
reefer
iconic,
madness.
accepted norm of, husband, wife, and all that, and, they shun the people that don't fit into those categories, yet, you have the spousal abuse, the child abuse, all the things, that we've all the horrors that go on behind closed doors, yet they judge, it's a damn shame.
Yeah, if I
So,
may, please.
Beetle Bailey, just so you know, because we don't have video on this podcast, so the audience knows, Beetle Bailey was just holding up a DVD of Reefer Madness. So he's got Reefer Madness is the probably the first stoner movie on our list to talk about, but he's got the DVD. So there you go.
I do,
Yeah,
and
I've
I
got a
yeah, I just wanted
go
to
ahead,
say,
man.
my father, he was born in 1926. He probably saw this, and he bought it hook, line, and sinker. I mean, he to his
Oh, that
dying
that it was bad?
yeah, that it was very bad. Wacky tobacco, he called it. Now, here's the
Yes.
irony. Here's the irony of it. Now, he kinda did and he kinda didn't, because I remember clearly watching Up in Smoke with him on HBO, and he was roaring laughing,
Uh-huh.
you know? So, yeah, I think he had that, as a principle, but I guess
So let
maybe
me
not
tell you
that.
about let me tell you about my father. So my father was the opposite of your father. My father was a crazed hippie. And I remember coming home from school. I was going to meet a bunch of my high school friends at my house after soccer practice. So I come home from school and they're all there already. I was late, soccer practice ran late or whatever. And I open the living room door and it's filled with pot smoke. And all my friends are leaning back on the couch. You remember that Memorex commercial where the guy's leaning back in
Yes,
the chair?
Yeah,
yes,
They're
yeah,
all leaning
yeah.
yeah.
back like with their hair, and my dad is jumping up and down, ranting about hippie conspiracy theories and all the rest of it. And they're just totally freaked out, and they're all stoned because they all got there. They were, oh, is Craig here? No, he's not here yet. Hey, you guys want to get stoned? So he got all my friends stoned, and just it was
Yeah, no,
hilarious.
that did not happen in any sort of universe in my in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah. Well, that was different childhoods for
Well,
sure.
see, that's the beauty of this podcast. We have different life experiences to share.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, well, let's talk about reefer madness to start with. Let me just run down a few bullet points on it, and then we can kind of open up the discussion. It was released in 1936, originally titled "Tell Your Children." So it was a propaganda movie aimed at parents to get them to tell their children about the dangers of marijuana. It was shot in 15 days on a $100,000 budget. Um, it was funded by a church group. Um, it portrays weed as a gateway to insanity, violence, rape, and murder instead of what it actually is, which is a gateway to sitting on your couch and eating Doritos while watching Scooby Doo.
Amen.
Um, key scenes: wild piano playing, hit and run accident, hysterical courtroom laughter. It initially flopped. This is a low budget. There are a lot of these interesting underground low budget exploitation movies from the
Yeah,
30s.
Cocaine Fiend is another one that comes to
Yeah, there's
mind that
another one about
really
cocaine. It was rediscovered in the 70s as a ironic midnight cult movie. Um, and since become a classic. We'll link to it on the Click Pit. All these movies we'll link to on the Click Pit. Thoughts on Reefer Madness?
It's a fun watch. It's I don't know, it's just so whacked out. Um, I don't know. I don't remember the last time I watched it, to tell you the truth. I'd have to
right.
rewatch it to tell you anything about it. I just know that
Yeah, I watched it
it's
about
just
5 years ago.
off key, you know, just not, that there's as far as what they're trying to portray, yeah, it's just nonsense.
It's kind of like a Leave It to Beaver episode, except the kids are sneaking off and smoking weed and then going crazy and
Murdering, right? Doesn't
murdering
one
and
guy
raping.
murder murders? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
so it's a dark Leave It to Beaver episode. What do you think, old Silky? Have you heard anything about it? Any
Reefer Matt, I remember seeing it, there was a college, there was like a theater at a college in Maryland, and um, they would show, like, cult classic movies, and
right?
so one Saturday, it was, Taxi Driver, very, very young age, my mother would just go to see this stuff and not question whether me at 5 and 6 years old should see Taxi Driver. Um, and because
Classic
of
movie.
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but because of how the theater reacted to what was coming up, uh, I would get excited based on the response of the crowd. So, we watched Reefer Madness, and I remember at a very young age finding out that the movie was a bit over the top because everyone in my house smoked pot. So I knew that people didn't sit there and cackle wildly at nothing. However, I have certainly been stoned enough to cackle wildly.
I
So
remember when I was 3 years old, my dad and some of his friends sitting in a circle passing a joint around. I probably told this story on the podcast before, I don't know, but and someone and I'm sitting in the circle just hanging out with my dad and his friends. I was 3, and someone was, "Hey, give the kid a toke." They hand it to me, and I'm about to put the bright end in my mouth because that's the most interesting, oh, that's and they grab it at the last minute. Oh, maybe that's not a good idea. It's like, you fucking hippie morons. Do you think maybe that's not a good idea? I think maybe
Don't
you're right. That's not a good idea.
Well, don't think my father was not, I've got like a mirror image of that, only I was affected. My parents were not alcoholics, that I could really tell. They were weekend warriors.
Right?
When, Saturday night especially, they would call it the highballs would start flowing,
Yeah.
these mixed drinks, right? And I would be awake. I would 3 or 4 years old, and I was just, knee high. So I'd walk around and the drinks would be at eye level. And I would ask everybody that was there, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, "Can I have a sip?" And they'd give me a sip. Now after
Yeah.
5, 7, 8 sips, I'm drunk. I'm 4 years
yeah,
old drunk.
yeah,
So that's
same
that's what
same exact same exact thing. My grandfather did a job for somebody on the county legislature in Baltimore, and rather than get paid, he said, uh, a I want 2 kegs delivered to my house every weekend." And they wrote that off, and for 20 years, late 50s all the way to the mid 70s, it just was, you know, a thing. It had to be cheaper, and it was just on the books, and it just showed up, and, on the river, you had all these houses up and down the river, but, Pop had a bar in his house, and every weekend, my grandparents would have anywhere from 100 to 200 people at that house on the river, and, just like you just described, as the grandkids, we would wander through and take a sip of beer, sip of beer, sip of beer, and I'd wake up in the morning underneath a table or, and, you know, it was just what you did, you know?
Yeah. Well, my first alcohol experience, me and a friend of mine sleeping over. We're sneaking out. It's like Saturday night. We call another friend of ours who's got booze, and we're like 13, and we're like, well, let's sneak out. So and so has booze. So we're sneaking out. We're gonna go stand in front of the house, and they're gonna come pick us up or whatever. My mom catches us sneaking out. She's like, "What are you doing?" We're like, "Oh," and I was very honest with my parents, and I was like, "Oh, well, we were gonna go meet up with so and so because he has some alcohol." And she's like, "Have you ever been drunk before?" We're like 13. No. And she goes, "If you're gonna get drunk, you're gonna get drunk under my supervision. And
man.
she's call your friend and tell him you're not coming." Sits us down at the dining room table, gets out a bottle of wine, pours us and we're just sitting there getting drunk with my mom. But I
Wow.
didn't chase it, you know? It was never this thing that was held away from me where I had to go chase. So, you know.
No, what my parents what they did for me was, and it worked, they had this god awful beer in the fridge. I don't know if you've ever heard of Utica Club or
No,
anything.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of a local, brewery or, near here.
There's a lot of local breweries that put
Yeah.
out some.
Oh my god. I tasted it once. I'm like, "Oh." that, and my father liked it, so, yeah, that's all he needed to do to discourage me. Let's drink that
yeah, when
beer.
you first start drinking beer, you're like, "Why do people drink this? This doesn't
Yeah,
taste like
right.
Coca-Cola. This tastes bitter. What's going on?"
Yeah, exactly.
Um, all right, so, uh, basically, I think the modern stoner genre of stoner flicks probably starts with, the Cheech and Chong stuff. I don't know, what do you guys think? I mean, there's a lot of hippie movies like Easy Rider and stuff like that, where people are smoking weed, but I don't think they're really about celebrating people getting stoned. I think like Cheech and Chong come along. They start with the comedy albums in the
Yeah,
early '70s, but
yep.
their whole thing is about weed and getting stoned. You guys want to talk about Cheech and Chong for a little bit?
Yeah, real quick though, I so with all of what had been outlawed, and then as you come out of the '60s and counterculture and, uh, people coming back from Vietnam and the depressing, '70s that Snags and I can certainly, reminisce on, I just feel like marijuana was a shelter from the storm, and you had people like Cheech and Chong, uh, pointing out that, "Hey, man, this stuff is you can laugh at life and the power of comedy, um, far outweighs the dark, uh, severity of reality," you know? So, nice. We're,
Los
being
Cochino.
shown
A Cheech
the,
and
uh,
Chong
the
album.
album.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, this pulls out, and you could see how they've stored the weed in their door frames.
Yes,
See?
that's great. That is great. Love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
So he's got that. Oh, which album
yeah,
is that?
it's called Los Cochinos. It's got
Okay.
Basketball Jones, it's got
Oh,
Pedro
yeah,
and Man
yeah.
Ah,
at the Drive-In,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I had the
All these
greatest hits that had Basketball Jones' Sister Mary Ignatius and all that stuff, but yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so they come out, they met during the improv scene in Vancouver. They start releasing albums and doing tours as like a comedy duo, and it's the whole counterculture is happening, and their focus is weed. They drop probably the biggest stoner classic of all time, Up in Smoke, feature film, 1978, made $40 million on a $1 million budget. Stacy Keach is the crazed cop who's they're torturing the whole time, always trying to bust him. That's a hilarious movie. I bought a few years back. I bought all the Cheech and Chongs on DVD up through I think Things Are Tough All Over. I think unfortunately I have Still Smoking, which sucks, but Up in Smoke, next movie, Nice Dreams, Things Are Tough All Over are all just classic Cheech and Chong stoner flicks.
Yeah,
Any
Nice
thoughts on any of
Dreams
those?
was hilarious. Next movie, I think, is my favorite. That shit is just
thank you.
over
I
the
agree.
top.
I saw that in the drive-in, and, yeah, that was just, yeah, ridiculously funny.
Oh,
I've
when
only
these were coming out in the theater, my parents were taking me to each one, yeah, as they came out, but yeah, yeah,
Well, that's the and again, yeah, I did see Up in Smoke on HBO with my father, and he
yeah.
enjoyed it as much as I did. Um, and then I saw, and I think the first 2 movies were really good, and then, the other movies are good, but not nearly as good as the first 2, and then my humble opinion.
Yeah, I think Nice Dreams, I mean, I've watched them all, within the last year or so, and I think Nice Dreams and Things Are Tough all over, they hold up. They are a bit derivative though from the first 2, and then Still Smoking just I couldn't make it all the way through, it was just terrible.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
Cheech and Chong go to Amsterdam Film Festival, they're playing themselves, there's 0 plot, and then Corsican Brothers, I saw it when it came out, but I haven't even bothered to
yeah,
try
and
to watch
Yellowbeard
that.
is another one that's terrible.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
the movie Stripes was originally written for them, and
Really?
That's right. I
and
knew
they
that.
turned
I
right,
didn't know
and they
that.
turned it down for one of those movies, that they made,
One of those
which I
shitty movies. Yeah.
one of the shitty movies. Yeah, right.
Stripes was classic.
Yeah,
It's a great
right.
flick. I don't think it's necessarily a stoner flick, but it's a great flick.
See, that's the thing. I was just talking to the wife. It was hard to, nail down exactly just a few because we get stoned for every movie.
Uh-oh, there you go.
You know,
Ah, um,
Scent of a Woman. You ever seen Scent of a Woman
who
on
doesn't get
weed?
stoned to watch?
On weed? There's this great, scene, sequence in, Half Baked, which we'll be talking about, where he's talking about all the different kinds of stoners, and he goes, "There's" and then there's the on weed stoner, where he's like, "Have you ever made peanut butter toast on
Weed.
weed? You
That's
ever
me.
played a game of chess on
That's
weed?"
Jon Stewart. Classic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was Jon Stewart's
Yeah.
cameo in that thing.
Yeah.
That's a great one. We'll talk about that in a minute. Do we wanna talk about, and feel free to jump in, you said you had some Beetle Bailey. You got anything from that time period from the late '70s, early '80s, or we jump into the '90s for our next one?
Oh gosh. I can go back even further. Again, it's not really a stoner movie, but you gotta get stoned for Doctor Strangelove, right?
Oh,
See?
Doctor S yeah,
yeah. Oh
Right?
my
yeah,
god, that movie is hysterical.
Right.
Um, just the whole, him in the wheelchair and doing his hand all, kinda going back to, the Son of Frankenstein with the
well,
soldier that's got the hand that he
Yeah.
manipulates or
Yeah. Yeah. The whole movie is just, yeah, it's
Oh,
just great.
yeah.
I got Stanley Kubrick box set. I'm looking at it right now,
Uh,
on, Christmas, like, 15 years ago. It goes from Lolita through Eyes Wide Shut,
wow.
and my wife and I brought it home. We were at her parents' house, brought it home, I guess the day after Christmas, and we stayed up all night watching Kubrick movies.
Okay.
And
But
it's like one,
that's
two,
got, like,
three, four.
the romance Kubrick in there too, right?
It's got Lolita, Doctor Strangelove, 2001, Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon,
Yeah,
um,
Barry
The Sh
Lyndon.
The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah.
Yeah, Barry Lyndon is the
It's a
one that's
great box
just,
set.
like, "Why is this in here?"
Yeah, well, because he wanted to shoot a movie by candlelight, which he did, which is crazy.
There you go.
They had no lights in that movie. It's set in the past when they used candles, so
Yeah,
we're only
yeah,
gonna use candles in the production. It's just the fuck? He was probably
uh,
stoned.
yeah.
I have
So
one other from the early '80s. Do you remember Polyester by John Waters?
yeah. Oh,
See that?
wow.
Yeah, most of the
It's
John Waters movies you could probably definitely watch stoned
well,
and
this
yeah.
came with a scratch and sniff, if you remember in the movie,
Wow.
a number
Yeah,
pops up every so often, and you
yeah, and
scratch
yeah,
the number, and if there's, like, roses in the frame, you smell roses, but they do
yeah,
a bait and switch sometimes, and you're smelling somebody's
yeah,
butt, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Right, smelling a fart or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
That's a trip.
Smell-o-rama.
Um, and polyesters spotlights how, these lower budget movies, they had fun. They weren't quite so serious, and, there's a whole, uh, you know, rabbit hole that you go down with all these, kind of, um, you know, novelty movies, you know?
I know another one from the late '70s, early '80s era that you could consider a stoner movie because it was a midnight movie, and watching it stoned, I'm sure, is an experience is Eraserhead.
Yeah, right.
Well, and
Yeah.
obviously Rocky Horror Picture Show comes to mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
go ahead. You
well,
gonna say something?
in our list, I wanted to just spot, like, Dazed and Confused. Uh, I saw that when I worked at Tower Records, and we all went, and
We went to
it
that we saw that together when it opened. You were telling me about it. You're like, "There's this new movie. The guy that
oh,
did Slackers doing a movie about the
yeah, yeah,
'70s." And we go in and we sit down and Sweet Emotion starts playing and the
yeah,
cars going across the parking lot in
yeah,
slow motion. I'm
and,
getting chills just thinking about that. That's
it
such
was
a great
so
movie.
it captured my childhood 1,000% accurately.
Yep.
Different people in that movie I can think back on, and there were people like that. Um, and just the plot of the movie where they're, "Hey man, Aerosmith tickets," and
Yeah.
that was it. And our pursuit of music is still that way. Somebody's coming to town, and you're like, "Okay, I'm not gonna worry about clearing it with work. I'm just gonna get the tickets, and then everything else will fall into place." You know?
Yeah.
0, you know, responsibility, you know?
Yeah, it was such and the thing is if you were a child in the '70s, a teenager in the '80s, and in the '90s you're getting into your '20s, you understood there was this arc where in the '80s, especially the early '80s, the '70s were considered really, really out of style, really tacky, really cheesy, which is ironic because now it's really the early '80s that was all that stuff. But in the early '80s, everybody thought the '70s was just cheesy and out of style and tacky and so the early '90s when movies like Dazed and Confused come out and it's this cultural reacceptance of how awesome the '70s were, including
Yeah.
all the music,
Yeah.
Mhm,
Foghat,
mhm.
Man,
Aerosmith, Black Sabbath, Alice Cooper. That soundtrack was just fucking phenomenal,
I
Oh,
thought that was
in Days Confused, they steal some, statues, and they paint them up like Kiss, and it just
Yeah,
the whole movie, you're like, "God, this is incredible." And then,
yeah.
Matthew McConaughey stepped out of there,
Alright, alright, alright.
some of the
Parker
other
Posey,
girls,
Parker
Parker
Posey,
Posey, blew
Mila
up.
Jo Jo Mila Jovovich, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
just great.
and there's a lot of weed smoking, man. The founding fathers, they're really into weed, man. There's some crazy shit on a dollar bill, man.
George
You ever
Washington grew fields of that shit, man.
Yeah, man. They were into aliens, man. So there's just a lot of great
Definitely.
stone dialogue where there people just sitting around getting stoned and
And of
talking
course we've
bullshit.
all grown up and we don't do that anymore, but
Oh, no,
looking
no.
Not
back,
at all.
I
you know
especially do not buy the new weed seltzers that they sell now that are legal down at my local liquor. I
Yeah,
don't
you
buy
might
those and drink those on the weekends at
hey,
all.
you might be looking at a sponsor, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
uh,
Hey,
well,
I got it.
it's all vicariously through you guys 'cause
Yeah.
I,
Well, yeah, your
Yeah,
job
work
won't
for
let you.
I
And
yeah,
I
they
that's
won't
absolutely do
pay
not have
me, they
any
won't
gummies
yeah,
in
no,
I do not have any
they won't
gummies
pay
in the
me, they won't let
freezer, and
me, you know,
oh, man.
partake.
I
Well,
don't have
But
any gummies in the freezer, and there's not a skull-shaped bong 15 feet away from me right over there.
right
So
on.
none of
Uh,
that's I'm
is
mature
it
now.
is it time for, poetry corner, or do you wanna wait?
well,
Let's bust uh,
I would like to chime in on Dazed and Confused, if I
Yes,
could.
please do.
please.
Please
Yeah,
do.
I had a whole page written down just on that movie
Oh,
Good.
because
great.
we
Yeah.
just watched it over the weekend for and it was only my 2nd time. I remember renting it when it came out, when you could rent, you know, DVDs or whatever it was.
When you
Uh,
had to rent them, yeah.
yeah, so, um, the only reason I actually, watched it the first time was because of Parker Posey was in it. I heard Parker
Yeah,
Posey. Ever see this movie?
Yeah, I
Party
think I
Girl?
yeah,
did see that. Is that
party
where
girl.
she works in a library or something?
Well, she becomes the librarian. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I saw
it
that, yeah.
it's kind of a reverse, the story of like a timid librarian, throughout the whole movie and then letting her hair out at the end. This is kind of that in reverse. She's,
Yeah.
out of
Yeah,
control and then
she
Parker Posey is fucking adorable, yeah, especially
yeah,
back in the
but
'90s
but
when
she
she was, like,
plays
the
a
little.
character that's just, "I'm a bitch, I fully embrace being a bitch,"
yeah, mean
and
sorority girl.
the
Yeah,
quote she does in the movie, she goes, "Lick me, all of you." And that was her. It was great.
Well, when I saw Party Girl, that was it. I was smitten. I mean, I might still leave my wife for Parker. Don't
yeah,
Right?
Parker Posey, if you find out somebody's stalking you, it's probably Beetle Bailey. She listens to this podcast. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, oh, well,
Mm.
oh, wow,
Yeah.
hey there, Parker. Um, and now she's doing commercials for Hyundai, actually. I see,
See, I
uh,
I think Parker Posey was the '90s Molly Ringwald,
Yeah.
they
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
where you went and saw anything she was in, and you thought about, doing her savagely.
right. But, yeah, so I anyway, that I remember liking it, but not being so blown away, but the 2nd time, oh my god, I loved it. The cars. I'm a car guy,
Yeah,
seeing all
yeah,
the Pontiac GTO, the Camaro, the
yeah,
Volkswagen Beetle, all these classic cars that we took for granted back then. Everybody had one
yeah.
of these, you know?
Well,
Somebody
and
knew somebody that had.
they even
Go
had
ahead.
the egg chair and the wicker chair that hung down from a chain,
Right.
some of the furniture,
Yeah, he nailed
it
it.
was
He
just
absolutely
awesome,
nailed yeah. That's when I grew
awesome.
up. It was perfectly done. Perfectly
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
And just some of the gigs where they got the, guy to deliver the, keg and they run out, "Hey, man, hey," he goes, "Oh, I got it, inconvenient for you." Well, I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
you know
Yeah.
Those are some yeah, those is the I think that them those might be the best scenes in the movie when the kids go up and the dad answers the door.
Yeah.
It happens like 3 times because
"Yes,
it's coming. You
we're
know it's
not going
coming.
anywhere."
Or the kid goes
And
Fantastic.
to the liquor store to buy beer and they don't card him,
yeah,
"What you been
Oh,
doing?"
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
just working for the city, keeping a little change in my
yeah.
pocket."
yeah. Well, back then,
Well, here's some more
the
change
legal
for
age
your buck.
was
What's that?
18. The legal age was only 18 back then. So
Yeah.
if you looked anything close, you were
Well,
good.
just them when they go, uh, mailbox baseball and they go in, they're gonna get some zigzags and some, uh, stuff from the gas station. The guy comes out and he's like, with a gun and everything and, uh, screaming at him and shit, and the bowling ball in the back window and,
Oh, yeah.
just epic.
Yep.
Epic. That makes me think of the time that Snags and Silky, blew up the Barony in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we told that story on our, anniversary podcast where we talked about all crazy shit that
yeah,
happened in our lives, but yeah,
yeah,
we ran through a condo putting firecrackers in door knockers and shit like that, yeah. Stupid shit.
yeah, just stupid shit, but, good stuff.
Listen to that
We'll talk about
episode.
Half Baked. That's Half Baked is a fucking classic.
Yeah,
Yeah. To
I
me, I think
Dave
watched that
that's That's at the top.
I watched that one for the second time this weekend. Let me run through some bullet points and then we can discuss it. Dave Chappelle co-wrote it. He stars as Thurgood Jenkins, a janitor who sells stolen medical weed. His friends steal from a lab to bail out their buddy. Um, so their buddy basically he gives some candy to a police horse, and the horse turned out to be a diabetic, and the horse dies, and the police department's like, "You're a cop killer," and they throw him in jail. And so the whole movie, they're trying to get their buddy out of jail, and they need to get bail money. And so, Thurgood Jenkins, Dave Chappelle's character, he realizes that the lab he works for has a shitload of medical weed that they are testing and stuff. So they start stealing from the lab. They start selling. Uh, Mr. Happiness, I think, is the name of their dealership. They start, and there's
Yeah.
famous. It's got cameos. Willie Nelson, Snoop Dogg is the annoying friend who doesn't pay for the weed but always drops by just to get a toke. John Stewart, we talked about him already. Bob Saget's in this thing. Um, and it was made for 17 million. It made 17 million in theaters and then became a huge cult hit on DVD. Um, there's apparently a director's cut called Fully Baked that Chappelle likes better, but it's fucking hilarious. Uh, what's his name? Why am I drawing a blank on the guy who co-stars? He's a famous comedian. Damn it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh shit.
Bill Bill,
Nope, not Bill. I know
damn
his
it.
name except because we're on the podcast. Of course, I'm gonna forget. Jim
Exactly.
Brewer. Jim
Jim Brewer.
Brewer. Yeah, Jim Brewer
He's
is his buddy, and he just plays the whacked out stoner to the max. I mean, really, really.
Brewer is a whole other level too, man. He is
Yeah, yeah, he is hilarious as the roommate buddy. Harlan Williams is the friend that's in jail. He had his own show for a while that I used to watch back in the '90s.
Harlan is hilarious, and what's funny is, Harlan somehow got into some, uh, little kid cartoon he created, and they're a bunch of pugs, and
Oh,
it's a total Disney cartoon, but when you have kids and you're sitting on the couch, tired as hell, lack of sleep, and you're up at 6:30 in the morning because your kid wants to, and that's on, I'm like,
right.
"Harlan, what the hell?" Like, it's hysterical that he,
Well,
you know,
that's cool that he
has
found a
his
niche
kid show.
because his sitcom in the '90s, I forget what it was called, but it was great. But it just didn't catch on. But
Yeah.
so these guys are dealing marijuana. The weed is so good because it's medical grade that they end up pissing off the local drug dealer who was controlling the weed trade. And so then that local drug dealer and his henchmen, which is a bunch of Kill Bill style sexy assassin women, basically.
Right. Right.
They come after Dave and Jim Brewer and there's a third guy who I think his nickname is Scarface, played by Guillermo Diaz. And so the drug dealer and his sexy female assassin women coming after them, but they end up cooperating with the police to bust the other drug dealer and blah blah blah. The plot is kind of it's something for them to do while they're just being wacky and making stoner jokes for 2 hours, but it's freaking hilarious. It's a great classic movie.
Yeah, for me, it's the ultimate stoner movie. It's just got everything in there that, again, so well made. Like, just even to the little details, like when you watch a Batman episode, the Batman, the wings, that logo would, like, come in at you.
And they have the weed leaf that does the
Right,
little Batman in
right,
between the
Yeah,
scenes.
exactly.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah. It's
remember
great.
having this movie hyped to me on a couch while we're passing a joint around. somebody had seen it, and they're telling, "Hey,
Right.
have you seen Half Baked?" I'm like, yeah, we're like, "No," and he just hit the ceiling, telling us, "Oh, you gotta see it, it's so good," totally hyped it up, and it lived up to the hype.
Every time
And
anybody
it's a
gets
fine line. It's a fine line because some of the movies that I've seen, like some of the the later Cheech and Chongs or, uh, just some seem like way too silly where I just don't find it funny. Um, but like Super Trooper was hysterical, um, things like that. Obviously Big Lebowski, those are a cut
yeah,
above, you know?
we'll talk about Big Lebowski next for sure, but yeah.
But the cameos, right? We were talking what with Jon Stewart's cameo, right?
Willie
The
Yeah,
Nelson, Snoop
enhancer,
Dogg, yeah,
Snoop Dogg. Now, and who was yeah, the guy that died a few years ago. He was in
Bob
there,
Saget was in
Bob
there,
Saget. Have you
yeah.
ever
that's
sucked
right.
dick? Have you ever sucked dick for weed?
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Oh my
right.
god.
And the
I've sucked dick for coke.
narco Narcotics Anonymous, he goes to try to get over the weed at the Narcotics
Yeah, right.
Anonymous meeting, and they're like,
They boo
"Weed's
him.
not a real drug. Nobody's ever sucked dick for weed." It's fucking hilarious.
Well, it reminds me of, Menace to Society, I think. The guy's walking through the parking lot with obviously a bag of cheeseburgers, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'll suck your dick," and the guy just shoots him.
I don't remember that. I saw
Oh,
that
man.
with you when it came out, like,
Oh, it's
years ago.
a
That
classic,
one and Boys in the Hood, we were catching
yeah.
all those when they
But
dropped,
they're
yeah.
slinging weed in there. I mean, those are, they're not I think those are dramas. They're not, funny by any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say those are stoner movies at all,
No.
no.
But, like, Fridays, those
Oh,
3 are,
Fridays. Yeah,
fucking
those are
hysterical.
hilarious. Yeah. Day Day. Um, alright, so 1998, as we're kinda going chronologically here, although we are gonna get to Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of the Moon, which will not be chronological because that's just eternal, that's just, uh, every year, but, Big Lebowski, Coen Brothers stoner noir masterpiece starring Jeff Bridges as, a stoner who gets caught up in a complicated, mystery. Um, Signature, White Russians, dream sequences. A lot of these old noirs, they'd have these surreal dream sequences, so they put that in there, but they give it a kind of a stoner twist.
Yeah,
And when that was released, like, I went and saw it because I was going to every Coen Brothers movie when it came out, and I was like, "Yeah,
absolutely.
that was okay," and that was everybody's initial perception. And then I remember a friend of mine at work about 2 years later going, "Have you ever watched Big Lebowski more than once?" I was like, "No," and he goes, "Dude, it gets better every time you watch it." So I went out and bought the DVD, and holy shit, it gets better every time you watch it. It's amazing. I went through a phase where we watched that. I was buying vodka and Kahlua on a regular basis. We
Wow.
watched seriously, we would watch that like twice a month minimum. So
Wow.
I've
Wow.
probably seen that movie 50 or more times. We went
Jeez.
that I found out about a Lebowski fest just searching on the internet. I was like, there's got to be other big Lebowski fans out there. There were these cats in Louisville who the year before, this was around 2002, the year before they had done a big Lebowski fest. I was like, wow, that sounds interesting. And I call them up and I'm like, do you guys know how to do press releases? And they were like, no, what's that? So I explained to them what a press release was. And about 6 months later, the next Big Lebowski Fest was in Spin Magazine. And we went to the second Big Lebowski Fest. We drove to Louisville, Kentucky, and where they had midnight screenings of the Big Lebowski. Jeff Dowd, who is, the guy who the Coen brothers based, uh, the Dude on, because his nickname is the Dude. His name is Jeff
Right,
Dowd instead of Jeff Lebowski, and he's a publicist for movies, friend of the Coen brothers, and, looks like a cross between Jeff Bridges and, Walter Sobchak, John Goodman. Somewhere in between, physically, he looks somewhere between those 2. He was there introducing The Big Lebowski because they basically wrote it about him. They're like, "What if our wacky stoner friend Jeff Dowd got involved in a noir mystery like a Big Sleep kinda thing?" And that was
right.
their idea. He's there introducing the fricking movie, and I asked him what the meaning of life was. I forget what his answer was. And throughout the movie, everybody, us included, you just heard ice clinking the whole time because everybody smuggled in their White
Nice.
Russian supplies.
Right.
So, you smell some weed floating through the air, everybody's drinking White Russians. And then
That's hilarious.
we had a Big Lebowski parade through downtown Louisville, Kentucky the next day. So everybody's in their cars. People are dressed up as characters from the Big Lebowski, hanging bowling balls out of their cars and honking. It was freaking hilarious, dude. It was a lot of
Wow,
fun.
that's insane. That's
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
love that movie. That's one of my all-time favorite movies
I
ever.
watched it for the 2nd time last night, so I got a ways to go before I catch up to you.
Yeah.
I've
But
seen
yeah,
it 3 or 4 times. I enjoy it. I don't quite get the, uh, how it's been
Obsession.
raised up to this level that it is, but
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. I could definitely see watching it again just for I thought John Goodman blew me away. John
Yeah,
well, yeah,
he's
Goodman,
and
how did he
John
not win
"I
Turturro's
did not
character.
watch my friends die face down in the mud."
how did he
This
not
is
win an
fucking
Academy Award for that, for
Ah,
supporting
but John
actor?
classic.
Turturro's character as
Yeah,
Jesus, the
yeah,
bowler, like,
yeah,
oh my god. Just the outfit he had on
Yeah.
and like,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
and the soundtrack, the Latin version of, Hotel California when he
Yeah,
comes out in the purple outfit and everything, it's
yeah,
just
oh,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole thing is just beautifully done.
I hate the fucking Eagles.
Yeah, I hate the
Yeah,
fucking Eagles,
and
man.
who doesn't? Oh my god, don't get me started.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, if we it's funny you say that. In my band, we had a substitute guitar player who was really, really good, and we do, what the hell do we do? What it's already gone no, what some stupid Eagles song, I don't know what we did, but
Right.
he was bitching to me, he's like, "Oh god, I hate the Eagles." He's
Yeah.
like, he's just like, what a bunch of, drama queens," and I'm like,
Oh,
I said, "They probably had more drama than the Go-Go's did."
yeah, yeah. Oh,
I told you people at the Lebowski Fest dressed up as things from the movie. Somebody dressed up as the fucking Eagles. So it was like he was dressed up as an eagle and had a consort eagle like he was fucking it.
wow. Now, I know Amazon, I saw it, I don't know if you can still get it, but they had the sweater that the dude wears that
Oh shit.
you could actually get that sweater.
Okay.
It had the same pattern. I was like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
that's brilliant?"
Yeah.
It was like 60 bucks or 80 bucks. I was like, "I'm not buying that." I live
Nah.
in Florida, it's too hot.
It's also just his fashion sense and mine are two different things. I'm wearing a black Rolling Stone shirt and I've got a Motorhead hoodie.
Yeah,
I don't need a hippie sweater, but I do love
yeah.
the movie. I think the
It's
movie's
like a
freaking
cardigan thing, though.
yeah, yeah. One of my favorite sequences in that movie, he's driving along and listening to some Creedence, and because that's his favorite band, and he's sipping on a beer and toking on a joint while he's driving down the road, and and then he drops the joint in his lap, and he's trying to put out the joint, and then he crashes the car. I died the first time I saw that. I was like, "Ah!"
Yeah, love it.
Fucking great movie. Um, let's see here.
You wanna
I
talk
have
about the Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
thing?
Sure,
Sure.
sure. Let's talk about that. Yeah.
So how I remember it, in the, mid '90s, you started hearing these rumors that if you started The Wizard of Oz on the 3rd, roar of the lion,
The MGM lion at the
the
beginning.
MGM
Yeah.
lion, if you started The Wizard of Oz and started Dark Side of the Moon, that it synced up, like, uncannily well. And so we all went over to Arthur's house,
You
and
were there?
everybody was.
You
Yeah,
were
I
at
was there.
Arthur's house? Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
we did
Okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I had not had I owned the movie. I have always owned Dark Side of the Moon, but I had not done it, and I knew about it and was like, "Oh, that's cool, I should do that." And then,
Right.
Arthur, they threw a party where they specifically were gonna do that, and I was like,
Yeah.
"God, I've known about this for, like, a year. I should have already done this," but,
Right, right.
so we went over there,
And
and
holy shit, it
it
syncs up.
yeah, it syncs up, multiple times. The
Yeah.
movie is doing what the fucking record it's just like, how
It's
did
a
these
perfect
things
soundtrack. When she's flying around in the tornado, you hear the
get a great gig in the sky.
"Oh,"
The Great Gig
and
in the
the
Sky. Yeah,
minute
right,
sh
even
the minute
the title of the song,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, matches as
great gig
well.
in the sky, yeah.
So that made
And
everybody think that they do this on purpose. Did Pink Floyd do this on
totally.
purpose?
the minute
Yeah,
she steps into Emerald City and
yeah,
color,
right. Money.
money,
Yeah.
bum, bum, ba-dum,
Yeah,
bum,
yeah,
Side 2.
bum, bum.
Side 1 is
Crazy.
all black and white, and then
Yeah,
side 2 starts in color.
yeah,
yeah,
it's
it
Unbelievable.
just
crazy.
it's now you start to think, "Okay, this is like finding out who pulled the trigger in Dallas." Uh, you
It's
know,
exactly like that, yeah,
but
same thing.
is that same moment, but then the album ends, and you're like 42 minutes into the movie. You're like, Okay, wait a minute,"
Yeah,
it starts to fall apart, you know?
the song Brain Damage happens while the Scarecrow's singing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, oh, dude.
Well,
it's
yeah, and
yeah,
you hear the heartbeat. You hear and she's listening to
yeah,
his
Yeah,
heartbeat,
and
yeah,
you hear the
right?
like,
boom. Yeah, yeah.
"What
Yeah.
the fuck?"
It's
Yeah,
Uh,
wild, yeah,
right.
but then the album ends, and you're like, "Okay, wait a m"
Yeah.
so
My favorite moment in that whole thing is when, Us and Them is playing, Us and Them and, all these positive, negative things, whatever. Um, and when he says the word black, the Wicked Witch appears in
yeah,
black,
yeah,
like, the
yeah,
yeah,
moment. That was the one that blew me away the most. That was just like, "You gotta
yeah,
be
it's
kidding."
just bizarre, and they swear up and down that they were just making a record.
Right.
I don't know, but
and that's
it's
one of
very
those where you can watch it completely sober and you feel like you're stoned
You're right. That's a
yeah,
'cause
good point. You don't
you're
need
like,
to be stoned. Yeah,
"Is this really happening or am I stoned?" You know?
yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah,
bizarre. Yeah,
the way that shit syncs up is, phenomenal, and,
yeah,
you know, uh, certainly wanna and we watched it the right way. It's like, 8 people all laying around on the floor while and with each thing, "Oh my god, what the"
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
it just it threw you, it was
yeah,
yeah.
really,
right.
uh, you know
It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it was fun to debut it for people that hadn't seen it before when
Mhm.
I did it, and I literally
Yeah,
had one friend that was jumping up and down on my couch, literally jumping up and down, just
couldn't
freaking
believe how they yeah.
out.
Yeah,
The best part about it is you're showing it people have at least seen Wizard of Oz at least once or twice. I mean, it came on every year, and it was a big deal,
Sure.
as we were
Yeah,
kids, and we were all familiar with Dark Side of the Moon, so when you put them together for the first time, I, for one, was, skeptical in the room, like, "Okay, this isn't really gonna this" and it was unbelievable how accurate, how
sure.
close
Yeah,
uh, key
yeah.
moments, way too many for it to just
Way too
hit.
many. Way too many is a good way to put it.
Apparently, there are versions on YouTube, so I may have to partake and watch one of the YouTube versions,
Well,
what I
it
was thinking of.
what what's interesting is who the hell sat down and did that the first time, and
I
Uh,
know,
they
I know.
I think it was serendipity. I think somebody was playing the album in their bedroom, and somebody else
oh,
was watching the movie in the living room, and they saw something, and
what the hell?
I I
yeah.
think I think Roger Waters took a break from bitching about his father dying in the war, and he intentionally recorded it that way, him and David
I see,
Gilmour, and they didn't tell anybody. They're like, "Let's see how long it takes people to find this out." 20 years later, you
right.
know?
20
Well, and that's the argument is in 1970, one, when they were in the studio doing that, you didn't just, pop out and get a VHS of Wizard of Oz. It was
Right.
not,
I know, but
No.
they
you
could
know,
afford a projector, man. Come on. Connect the
possibly, but
dots, man.
it's a bit, yeah, connect the dot. So, um, yeah, it's incredible for sure.
Yeah.
But,
I wanted
so
to,
anyway,
any more thoughts on that? I do wanna talk about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back just a little bit.
Oh,
okay,
well, as long as you said that, yeah, I thought I had this
Oh,
on the list.
he's got
The
the
alright.
original
Clerks
Clerks.
The laser
soundtrack.
disc.
Oh, this is the Laserdisc. This is the actual
He's
movie.
got the
Yeah,
Clerks laserdisc he's
yeah,
Yeah,
holding up. Oh,
nice.
fantastic. Yeah,
absolutely
that's another.
a stoner movie in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his whole Ask universe is stoner movies. That one, that's one of those where Silky was working at Tower Records. It's like, "Oh, there's this new movie called, Clerks, it's wild, we should go see it." You drag me to, like, a promo, you got a free 'cause of the
mhm,
soundtrack
Soundtrack.
promo, you got free tickets, we go to Plaza Theater, we got free shirts, and they had
mhm,
all the bands on the soundtrack, and basically what him and his buddies made that in New Jersey. They got into Sundance with it. There was not a sound when they show it at Sundance, the soundtrack didn't exist. And Harvey Weinstein saw it, and he was in between, sexually, taking advantage of actresses, I guess. He's taking a break in
mhm,
between that,
Right.
and he, saw it, he met with Kevin Smith afterwards, and he goes, "You made a funny movie. We'll put a soundtrack on it, and it'll be a hit."
mm,
And he was right. They put all these, like, all early '90s alt bands on the soundtrack, and it
and I
blew up.
wanna speak
Yeah.
to that, when we were coming up, movies were, musicals, they had songs that our age group could not relate to at all, and so, um, I think when I saw River's Edge, and
Yep, and
here's
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart, but
2 first movies
specific,
with thrash metal in them.
yeah,
Yeah.
specifically River's Edge, hearing Slayer in a movie, I was like, "Oh my god,"
I think that was Hallows' Eve.
Slayer's on the River's Edge soundtrack,
Are they? Okay.
yeah,
Alright.
but, ju it just it it made the movie, more important, and then, like, seeing, Blue Velvet, here's movies, that are suddenly playing, music that you can relate to, and it blends the 2 together and makes you're like, "Holy shit, I've finally reached an age where some of these things make more sense," and so, movies like Clerks, I think were made more tangible or more important maybe,
That was one of yeah, that's one
because
of
of
the
the
best
soundtrack.
that's one of the best soundtracks ever, I think.
Yeah,
What
Great soundtrack
Love
album.
in a 45
which
is
one?
another one where the
Clerks,
soundtrack is fucking
Clerks.
stellar, you know?
Beetle Bailey, which movie were you saying was one of the best soundtracks?
Clerks. That's how I
Oh,
found out
Clerks.
about the movie. The All of a sudden, the
Yeah,
radio was playing, whatever song, by one of the bands saying, "Yeah, this is off
yeah,
the Clerks soundtrack." Well, what are you talking
yeah.
about? What
Mhm.
Clerks soundtrack?
I had that Clerks shirt for years. I don't know whatever happened to it, but I had it for years. It had all the soundtrack bands listed on the back. The soundtrack was a big part of marketing the movie.
It became a thing in the '90s, like Love in a 45, Reality Bites, these were all movies
Mm,
where the soundtrack was
yep,
almost more important
you're right. Yep,
Pulp
than
Fic Pulp
the
Fiction.
plot of the movie.
yep, sure.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction soundtrack was huge.
Oh,
Um,
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
all of his movies
yeah.
had
Reservoir
soundtracks.
Dogs, yeah.
right.
Oh,
But,
man.
anyways, so I kinda zeroing in on Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back because, to me, uh, I liked Clerks, Mallrats was okay, but I felt like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was, like, the most well-made, entertaining movie that he did, and it also
Lighthearted versus Mallrats and Dogma and
and Dogma and all that stuff. But it also has the theme. I mean, the whole thing is about weed. They find out that their alter egos, Blunt Man and Chronic. There's going to be a movie made about Blunt Man and Chronic, who are their
Mhm.
alter ego weed superheroes, and they have to go stop this because nobody's asked their permission to make the movie. And Mark Hamill's the bad guy in the movie. When they finally get to the movie set, it's Mark Hamill as the bad guy on the Blunt Man and Chronic movie set, and,
Yeah.
it's just a hilarious movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but, it's just they pull out all the stops on that one, and the whole plot is around the Blunt Man and Chronic weed thing. I remember when it came out, all of his stuff had been released by Miramax, and this one was being released by Dimension, which is usually Miramax's kinda straight to video B-movie label,
Really?
and I remember thinking, "Oh, they must not have many expectations for this," and, it was actually it made it was actually, pretty successful for Kevin Smith standards.
I remember seeing that at the drive-in. I have not seen it again, but I do remember
Yeah,
liking
and
it.
Kevin Smith, like, I don't dislike him, but a lot of that to me was, like, I was one of the few people that didn't like Clerks the way everyone else did. I think certain movies become really popular, and maybe because of that, it turns you off just a little, but, like, I saw Clerks 2. I really wanted to like Clerks 2, and I've seen all of his, movies, but I can't say that I've really enjoyed them, you know?
Did you see
Yeah,
Clerks 3?
No.
he's
Uh,
not Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is also out there. His stuff these days just goes straight to streaming.
Mhm.
The reason is he's not the best writer or director. He just isn't. He came up with these characters I think that people identify with, but, with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, they had a professional cinematographer, a really experienced cinematographer who was kinda ghost directing. Kevin Smith dealt with the actors, the cinematographer set up all the shots, and you can
Right.
tell. And, I think that's his high point. I have
Yeah,
seen
probably.
Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. It's a nice little trip down memory lane, straight to Amazon streaming, basically.
Well, and you never
Um,
saw Jay in anything else. He's only done these movies.
he's done there's some B movies that he's in without Kevin Smith, little B movies where he gets parts, but he's Kevin Smith's friend. He's not a
Yeah,
he's not a real
right.
actor.
Yeah.
I will yeah, I'll definitely watch that again, but I agree with you, Silky. I did not like Clerks 2, but Clerks 3 actually is good. I enjoyed it. It's more like
Really?
the original Clerks.
I
It's
I'll have to check it out 'cause
Yeah. I don't think I saw
I don't know if
Clerks
I
3.
knew
I
about
saw
it.
Clerks 2, but yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was
I
pretty
mean,
Wow.
it's stoners
yeah.
doing their thing. What was the
Mhm.
one that, Chasing Amy was the other one?
Chasing Amy,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Eh.
He kinda
Um,
tried to every time he tried to get serious, his shit would kinda go sideways a
Well,
well,
little
and
bit.
that
and
had
he
been
even
a
had Tom Petty. Tom Petty did the whole soundtrack for that, so, um, it was a big deal, and I do remember a whole series of movies somewhere in the early '90s that just you had to get the soundtrack and it was all and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm buying soundtracks." It was
Yeah.
yeah.
it was just strange, and I feel like those movies were part of our, like, Dazed and Confused had, like, 2 soundtracks and, it was it was kind of a whole thing.
Um, so we are getting up on an hour here, though. I do want to talk about I want Beetle Bailey to talk about the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy, and
Oh,
then
yeah, do that.
I want to talk about Inherent Vice. Um, and then I'll do a shout out to Mac and Devin Go to High School and Evil Bong series, but we don't have to get into them too much. But let's do Family Guy and Inherent Vice real quick, just to make sure we get those
Oh,
in.
and I have a poem for tonight's episode too.
Well, yeah, let's do Poetry Corner right now. Let's drop
Poetry
that one.
corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, anyone listening at home, just come up with your own poetry corner music.
Boom, baka,
Okay,
baka,
that's
bow, bow,
that's the
bow, chicka, chicka, bow, bow,
and,
bow, bow, bow. Boo, woo, woo.
okay. Poetry corner. Um, Low rider couch shapes my stoner slouch. Heavy wall of bass keeps me going strong. Time to hit this fucking bong. Laying thick in the fog, high as a hog, eyes half lidded. We barely kidded, yet we found the laughter that we were certainly after. Token of fat bone, the only hat we condone is fucking fog hat. So get your drag on, put some hat on, cause I'm a fool for the city, gonna drool on your titties.
That fucking that rocks, dude. You
Yes,
need to
That's the
you're
when you get
name of
right.
that
enough
one
of
is
those,
only one hat. There's
when
only one
when
hat.
when
There
you
is
get
only
enough of those, we're gonna release a book.
wow.
Old Silky's Poetry Corner,
Oh,
the book.
Where
We're gonna
where
sell it
where
on the website.
where has this been all this time, sir?
Yeah, I had no idea you were such a good poet. I've known this fucker for when did we meet? We were like 15
85?
and
Yeah,
we're like 55 now. I've known you for
yeah,
40 years and I had no idea you're a good poet. That's
yeah.
crazy. Up until the
No, so
last
that's
episode.
my, if any stoner music, you sure Sabbath and all, but Foghat, baby.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's
You
only
don't
one hat.
if you can't hack the hat,
Yes.
No,
you
no,
you ain't got it.
that's
Yeah, and
it.
Dazed and Confused, that the last song in the movie is,
Slow
yeah, you're right.
ride.
All right, yeah.
Burn,
Yeah,
burn, burn, take
so
it
good.
easy.
Yeah.
All right, Beetle Bailey, give us your rundown on the Family Guy, Star Wars parodies, and why it's a stoner. Why they're stoner movies.
Well, again, it was hard to nail down just a few because we watch everything Stone. But yeah, the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy is basically the episodes 4, 5, and 6 condensed into, what, 45 minutes, an hour each, maybe. And I, I mean, again, it's just perfectly done. It is just a complete replica of those 3 movies. Stewie plays Darth Vader, absolutely hilarious. Um, like they're around the conference table talking about the Death Star and how it's impenetrable. He's like, "All right, so there's no flaws then, right?" They're like, "Well, there's this one thing at the top, where if you shot a laser through it, you know,
Oh, it's
you know,
fucking great.
yeah." And the guy that plays Yoda is the quote, that you can apply to everything. Me and my wife apply this to almost everything that happens in life. If you get caught, doing something or whatever, because Yoda, Luke Skywalker walks up to him, basically, says, "Are you Yoda?" He's like, "No, I'm not Yoda." "All right, I'm Yoda." And then he's like, will you teach me the ways of the Force?" Because that's basically what happens, right? Yoda has to come all the way, down to Luke's level and deal with him, right?
Right.
So you get that whole event takes place in 1 second. "I'm not Yoda." "Okay, I'm Yoda. Now, will you teach me the ways of the Force?" "No, I won't teach you the ways of the Force." "Okay, I'll teach you the ways of the Force." So you don't have to go through all of the
Right.
stuff in between.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
brilliant.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So we'll
It
say
I
that.
have to
We'll
see those 'cause I've known about it, but, that's really funny.
Yeah, I just added those DVDs to my Amazon list. I think it's streaming on Hulu too, at least Family Guy in general
It
streams on
should be,
Hulu,
yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure
we
it is.
we we have the 3 DVD set. It's fantastic. We've watched that more than we watched the real Star Wars now. It's
Yeah,
just,
That's
and,
hilarious.
Brian is, Chewbacca, right?
Brian yeah, right. I think, yeah, we had actually, yeah, it's been a while, but Brian's Chewbacca. Yeah, everybody, yeah, Princess Leia is, the mother there, um, Lois.
Uh-huh.
It's just, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great stoner watch. It just, occurred to me in preparation for the show.
All right. So last one to kind of do a little dive on here, I think, is Inherent Vice. 2014, Paul Thomas Anderson adapts Thomas Pynchon's 1970s LA detective novel. Um and it's basically this even the novel was written after The Big Lebowski, but it's kind of similar, but it's a little bit more realistic and gritty. Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is a stoner private eye named Doc Sportello, and his ex girlfriend, who he's still pining over, she left him for a square, rich real estate developer guy, and she goes missing. So he gets sucked into this missing persons case because he cares about it, but he's also stoned the whole time. And Josh Brolin is the Stacy Keach in this one, the square
Mm,
cop who's
uh-huh.
antagonizing him. He's got the perfect,
Oh my
square
god.
crew cut
Yeah.
thing, and just uh, it can't stand this stoner private eye that keeps bugging the police department about these cases and almost steals the show. He's just great as
I think
and
he does steal the show. He did when I
yeah,
watched it, yeah.
it's hilarious. Owen Wilson is a uh, uh, hipster musician who ends up getting paid by the government to infiltrate the hippie scene. Reese Witherspoon is the local yuppie DA, junior DA or assistant DA or whatever, who screws Joaquin Phoenix on the side because she
Joaquin
likes to,
Joaquin Phoenix.
well, whatever. Well, River Phoenix's brother on the side
Yeah,
because, she
Joaquin,
she likes
right.
dirty, filthy hippies. She's got a little, fetish for dirty, filthy hippies, so he's screwing the assistant
Nice.
DA while he's chasing after his ex-girlfriend who he's pining for. And, it's a hilarious movie. I mean, it's just one hilarious scene after another, but it's got a grittiness to it that Big Lebowski doesn't have. It's not quite as flippant, you know?
Mhm.
What do you think, Beetle Bailey? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, we just watched that last week. I enjoyed it, but yeah, I it was just a little too much to pay attention to for me. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't look at it as like, "Oh, yeah, this is a big time stoner movie." But I agree with your analysis. It's, yeah, Big Lebowski, but much more grittier.
Yeah, and I agree there's a lot of strands floating around in old Duder's head on this one, there's a lot going on, lot to pay attention to, but, there's a lot of twists and turns, but some movies, like, they twist and turn till you don't care anymore, and I feel like this one
Yeah.
kinda holds back from doing that, but
I did think Josh Brolin, he definitely stole the movie for me. I he just every scene he was in was just incredible. The homophobia,
yeah,
it's
yeah, and
sucking,
or the latent homosexuality, like he's
yeah,
always sucking on this
suck
frozen
always
banana.
sucking on something. He was
Yeah,
literally sucking on something every
chocolate covered frozen banana or
and
whatever,
then
and
there's a scene talk about the '70s, right? This was right, 1970, I think it takes place.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he one of the scenes, he's on the phone with Joaquin, and his son is kneeling on top of the bar, and when
pouring
he
him scotch,
pour
pouring him glasses, and
and then yeah, and his wife just has to demand sex from him. "All
That's
I ask
great.
for is once a week."
That's
he's this
hilarious.
he's basically this just hard-nosed. His nickname is Bigfoot. He's this big bully out in the world, and then his wife is just thrashing him within an inch of his life.
Right, there you go.
To quote The
Pink
Wall.
Floyd. Yes.
Um, like, it just shows him at home and his wife he's talking to
Wa
whatever the fuck you pronounce his name, and
Joaquin.
Joaquin
and she grabs the phone, she's like, "Stop bothering my husband! Give him a little piece," and slams the phone down, and she starts railing on him, and he just hangs his head and walks down the hall, you know? It's like
"Stop acting like a beaten dog."
yeah,
That's
it's
great.
fucking hilarious.
It brings up, The Nice Guys. You guys ever see that with Ryan Gosling and, Russell Crowe?
Yeah, with the porn movie thing,
Yeah,
porno shoot or whatever. Yeah, I
yeah,
saw that.
that's a good one, set in '77. I just like these period pieces. They seem to bring, that nostalgia back, but,
Yeah.
the only other one I wanted to mention, we talked about it before the show started, was, Weeds, which was
Yeah.
a, seasonal episodic thing,
Called a
where
TV series.
yeah, yeah, where a kinda what do you just blew my whole Uh, suburbs. The suburbs, a suburb mom raising 2 kids, stumbles into, she ends up selling weed to go, to get by, and she makes a lot of money selling weed, and then, just all kinds of crazy shit starts happening where she's, being investigated, the cartel just it just gets really complicated, but there's a lot of really good actors all through it, and just the
Remind
final season just,
Oh,
insults
no.
you,
Last season
you
sucked.
yeah, you feel like you wasted, 7 years of your life trying to get to the bottom of this story, and then the last season is just garbage, just absolute, slap in the face,
I saw a
but
few episodes of that, and then it just didn't retain my interest, but maybe I'll revisit it now that you're
I
Yes,
saying,
same here.
it gets really it pulls you in like Sopranos or, one of these where you're
It
like, "Oh my god," like,
reminded me of Breaking
Breaking
Bad.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% Breaking Bad, where you're just, like, uncomfortable as it's going along because there's so much, you know, um and then they just wrap it up like a um, Huck Finn, they just, "Okay," and then they go and you're like, "Wait a minute." So,
Okay.
well, if I ever watch it, I will skip the last season.
yeah,
I
just
want
don't watch the last season.
yeah. I just wanna give a shout out to Mac and Devin Go to High School, Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa, 2012. Basically, uh, Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa go to high school and get a lot of stoner antics. I saw that one about 10 years ago. I don't remember much about it except that it was a funny stoner movie with Snoop Dogg, who was like one of the ambassadors of weed. So you got to watch that one. And then the Evil Bong series, Full Moon Pictures, classic B movie studio. Um, you sent me the slime balls at the sorority Bolorama or whatever. You sent me that link. That's
Okay.
Full Moon Studios.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
they have a weed series called Evil Bong, and it's about these stoners that get a hold of a bong that has magical powers, and they get transported into different demonic realms and stuff. And Tommy Chong shows up in some of these movies. There's like 6 of them, or 8 of them apparently, something like that, I don't know.
Jeez.
But, I've watched a few of those. Those are fun, you know? Uh
Redman, the rapper, he had a one called How High. That was funny.
Oh, yeah, I gotta check that one out. Yeah.
That's like 2001, I think, something like that. How High.
I'm
That
gonna
was
check it out.
that's good stuff. But yeah, I got nothing else.
Yeah, I think we're an hour and a half into it. I think we've thoroughly covered this subject,
Right
at least
on.
for us anyways. You got anything to wrap it up there, Beetle Bailey?
Just a few quick shout outs, like Tommy Boy, the mistake.
That's a funny movie. You think that's a stoner movie?
Like, well, again, I'm trying to nail these down because everything's a stoner movie to me. Um, the Matrix series,
The Untouchables? It's a total stoner movie.
Yeah. Yeah, Jaws 3.
Debbie Does Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane. You ever watch that
Mm,
on weed?
on weed. Yeah,
on
see that
weed.
that's the road I'm gonna go down then, Um, but yeah, that's
Scarface on weed?
On Golden Pond.
On
There you go.
weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Henry the Loons, Henry.
You can't pick strawberries.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
I think we're sounding stoned already. Um, we got more shit lined up, including more with Beetle Bailey. So stay tuned and find out what shit's coming up next week.
Right on,
Peace out,
kids.
everybody.
Go get stoned.
There you go. Thank you, guys.